Hello everybody, this is Michelle. I'm a Creative Memories Advisor, and today you'll learn how to make this 2-page layout using the On the Bright Side collection. This is such a fun and vibrant collection, and you're going to see me doing a ton of things with it just because I love it so much and it makes me happy. Okay, I got this idea for this part of the border from my friend Lisa Thurman. She did something similar, a page layout that was similar, but she used this border, so I have to give her the credit for it. She was duplicating a project recipe with this collection, and that's what she came up with, and I thought that is so fun. So I kind of copied that part, and then the rest I did my own thing. So let's go. Let's do this. Here's everything I used. I'm going to pull these out and show you how I'm starting to use these fill and file sleeves that come with the binder, the Sort and Stash binder. They fit down in our Power Project sleeves, as you can tell. That's where they were. They were in this big pocket, along with my papers and cardstocks. So I basically put myself notes on how to cut everything, but I like this because it's got 2 pockets on each side. And it just helps me stay organized when I'm making videos or working on projects. And then it has these horizontal pockets, which are great for border strips of paper, things you do with the border punch, which that's what this is. Things you do with a border maker cartridge, like the laser cut borders. And you have all those pockets on each side. They're just little skinny horizontal pockets. So these are most of these are the colors that I used, and I'm going to show you something with this yellow. These are some of the cardstocks that I used. Now these came with the On the Bright Side cardstock collection that go with the collection. This one did, and this one did. I added the orange because Lisa had done that, and I thought that's kind of a fun touch. So I thought this isn't with the cardstock pack, but I added it. It's like a bright orange. And then these are the background papers. I used this side. I love this side, so I had to order more collections so I can have more of both sides of these paper because I love it so much. One thing that kind of hurts my heart is I love this, and I'm going to scrap on this, but I had to give up this. Now, you just thinking, I just thought of this just now. You don't really have to give it up. If you want, you can position it just right, and then you can use the back side and put it in top-loading sleeve instead of on a page. So that would be a way I wouldn't have to give that up. So just a thought. All right, so I'll stop rambling on that. And then I used a piece of white ruled paper that I cut down. So these are the Power Project folders. They have one big open pocket where you can put several packs of paper, cardstock, and stuff. You've got these 2 vertical pockets where you can put sticker strips, border strips, laser cut borders, and so on. And you've got all these front square pockets and a horizontal pocket where you can put stickers and die cuts and scraps of paper, embellishments, all kinds of things. So these are great, but then you can also add more pockets by adding these to them. We also have a, I think I've got one right here. Yeah, we have this, which is called a something pocket, but we have these at Creative Memories. It's just a big pocket that's open at the top. When I have like a lot of little skinny things and fragile things, I put them in here. It's just kind of hard to get them down in those bigger pockets on the back, or they would go in here. But sometimes you just need another pocket to separate things out. Those also fit here. So those fit, these fit, cardstock. Oops, let's put them both in there. Cardstock, paper, all kinds of things fit in these. All right. I love them. I guess you can tell. Okie doke. So let's go. I'm going to set all this aside for the moment and grab these 2. So these are going to be our 2 background pieces. I'll have to move them in a minute, but if I was starting to work on the layout, I would just lay these out and move them aside when I need to. But that's going to be what I build on. And I'm just going to make this page for you. This one is very similar. I'll explain what I did on this page, but it's basically a mirror image of this with just a couple little changes. Okay, so let's do the border. This is such a fun border maker cartridge. It's called Whimsical Scallop. You'll notice that our border punches and tools are a different shade of blue now. This is our new color. This is the color we did have, and marketing just upgraded or changed to this color. It's just a more vibrant blue. I like the old color, but I like the new as well. Okay. I have to say okay to myself. I don't know why. I need to kind of work on that. And I need to work on saying and. So that's one of my goals for this year when I'm making videos. Because you don't need to hear all that. Okay. Well, I just said it again. Okay. I'm going to cut a row of this pretty pink in Whimsical Scallops. This comes in the cardstock that goes with on the Bright Side collection. I'm going to start at this little black line right here. That's where I put the edge of my cardstock. Make sure it's lined up on this little edge right here and punch. Pull it down. Match my pattern up with this blue pattern. Just completely cover it up. And then make sure it's pressed all the way against this edge. Press firm to keep it straight. And do that all the way down. We're going to match the pattern. Make sure it's all the way against the edge and punch. Sometimes I get a little lazy and I forget to press really hard, and then it gets a little crooked. So it is important to press down right there to make it stick. And then you just go all the way down, matching your pattern. Okay, I kind of got off track there. There we go. Match my pattern. You don't see any blue. Hold it firm and punch. Match my pattern. And punch. There we go. And then I would sometimes I save my scraps, so I would lay these aside and I'd take a look at them later, see if I could do something with them. I would set this aside. And now I have already cut the other colors. These are the colors that I used. You could substitute and use yellow instead of orange. It's just a preference, but I just kind of wanted to add something different, so I added the orange because I thought it looked good on Lisa's page that she made. So I'm going to set this aside now and set those aside. Kind of set everything aside, clear off my space. And then I'm going to cut these two pieces of purple paper. I've written on here my measurements. And what I want to do that for is for this top border and this bottom border to go on top of this craft paper. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. I've got the straight blade in there already. And I put myself notes. I'm going to cut 1 inch for the top edge. So just cut that 1 inch wide. So I'm going to line it up with this 1 inch mark right here on my trimmer. Make sure it follows that grid line all the way down. Make sure it's straight at the top. Hold it firm and cut. So that's my top border. And then I need 1 3/4 inch for the bottom. I probably should use this one. So 1 3/4 inch will be 1, 1 1/2, 1 3/4. So I'm going to line it up at that 1 3/4 inch mark. Follow that grid line all the way down. Make sure it's straight at the top. Hold firm so it doesn't move on me. And then I have my 1 3/4 inch bottom border. So let's go ahead and add those. Here's my craft paper. So I'm just going to put some repositionable tape runner on the back in little dabs all the way down. You don't want to go whoosh and do it all the way down because you'll waste it and it's not necessary. So just do little dabs all the way down. And line this up to cover, like you want it to go a tad past the top, just so that craft paper doesn't show out past the edge. And make sure you're good here. I see a little bit on that side. One great thing about that repositionable tape runner is you can pick things up and move them around for a while, and then over time it settles down. And it's not going to fall apart on you. It does work over time to stick. Okay, so I'm good with that. I'm going to press it firm to make sure everything sticks. Now I'm going to put this one on the bottom. Little dabs. Try to get a little extra on the ends. Okay. Didn't mean to stick that there. This repositionable tape runner, if you get it on your page, it'll just wipe right off. Another reason why I love it. Okay, so I'm going to line this up at the bottom and the side, making sure I don't see any of that craft paper coming out past, and I do over here. There's a fine line between doing it just right and going too far, because then it won't match up on the other side. I am very happy with that. Press it down and make sure it all sticks. Okay, so I'm done with the purple. Now I'm going to do my scallops. So I just showed you how to punch scallops. Excuse me just a sec. You guys who watch me know I have to drink a lot of water when I do videos because my throat gets dry. Okay, so I'm going to do these in this order. Now I see that I have a little shaggy piece or uneven piece on the end. I'm going to just round that off with my micro scissors. Let's take a look. It's another little piece. Sometimes they just get little stray pieces, little pointy edges. Let's look at this one, make sure it's good too. I see a little piece right here that I want to clean up. These micro scissors are great for that, because they get in all the little grooves. Okay, so I want the orange and then the pink on top of that. And of course you bring it down a little bit so that you can see both colors. And this Island Waters color. And I like a little purple showing at the bottom and top. Makes it more fun. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look at that. I know about where I want it. I'm going to flip it over and put some repositionable tape runner on the back. Little dabs all the way down. Now let's mount this so that some purple shows. Sometimes if you see a little stray piece of paper, you can just kind of rub it with your fingernail, and it's good. It takes care of it. I see that the bottom of this is a little uneven, and that's fine because it's going to be covered up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to the pink, and I'm going to put it on top of the orange. Now, I see that it didn't come down far enough, so I went over a little too much on the end here. It's good to save yourself some time by being more careful in the first place so you don't have to reposition. There, that's perfect. I'm going to rub those down and then make them stick better, and then I'm going to put some on the back of this. Such a fun, cute border. I love it. Okay. Now, I kind of see, I'd rather these pink ones come up a little bit further so that not as much of that orange shows, because I want a little more purple to show at the bottom as well. So, and this is Whimsical, so I'm not trying to match my pattern up perfect because it's not supposed to. These are kind of going in little angled directions, but I do want to show about the same amount of each color layer. I think that's fine. Yeah, I'm good with that. Now let's check the other side and see. I think I need to trim it Just a tiny bit right there. It's hanging over just a little. Okay, they're very good. Now, I need to get this little skinny strip of rainbow. It's like a watercolor rainbow paper. So, oh goodness, got a mess. All right, I said this on my last video. I don't have much of this left. I love this paper and I've used it a lot. So I'm going to find the biggest piece that I have. I also like the other side, so I used it a lot. Okay, so I'm going to use this piece. And y'all, I think I had, yeah, this was 2 short pieces. So I pieced them together and matched up the stripes. I can't even tell where I pieced them together, but now I have a 12-inch piece. Okay, grab my trimmer. And for this, so on my trimmer, I use all kinds of different things as my guides. Sometimes I'm using the grid line. Sometimes I'm using this right-hand dotted line. Sometimes I'm using the edge of this gray mat. Sometimes I'm using this grid mark. So what I want for this to get the size that I need, I want to line it up with that right-hand side edge of that gray mat, just to cover it so it's right on top of it, because this needs to be pretty skinny. And then I'm going to close this and make sure it doesn't move. And I'm going to do one more thing. Since this is such a skinny piece, it's easier to move on you. We have this new tape. Can't remember what it's called, but it is awesome. It's repositionable tape. It reminds me of like green frog tape for painting, because you can pick it up and reposition it, peel it up, but it's really thin and it's great for crafting. So I'm going to tape this down, because I know when I've done this before, it creeped on me. It moved, and I do not want this to move at all. Okay, now I'm going to cut. Okay, so I'm going to mount that right at the edge here. I think I got the wrong one. Here. And that did creep on me a little bit. I didn't have it completely straight. Let's do it again. It's just not straight. So I want to be happy with this. Okay. It happens. So I'm going to go all the way to the right of that gray mat. I think I had it over at the bottom a little bit too much. Okay, so we're going to put this down. I think I didn't have it exactly correct in the first place, and that was the problem. I'm going to get one more piece of this little tape, and then you can reuse this. I love it. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be better, I can tell. Yes, perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Okay, now I'm going to grab my silicone mat so that I won't get adhesive on my table, because this is so skinny. Get some water. Okay. So I'm going to put repositionable tape. I'm going to be pretty generous with it on this, because this is such a skinny little strip. I want it to stick really firm and not bend on me. Okay, now I'm going to put this here, just right at the edge of that purple. I'm going to line it up with the bottom edge. And press down as I go. This almost is like washi tape when you cut it so skinny. And I guess this is like washi tape too. Maybe it is washi tape. Okay, and now I don't ever use washi tape, so I'm not sure if it's like this, if it peels up like this, but I kind of think it does. Anyway, I like it. All right, so press that down, and that just gives a little extra touch to bring in all the colors. So I'm done with that part, and now I need to do this part. So let me find my pieces for that. Here they are. Okay, so this is a word art that we have with this collection. So this would be a February page. So I'm going to put February at the top. These are great for if you do like an album and a 2-page layout for every month. And then you could have like a 2-page layout with February. And then you could put February's pages behind it. And then you could have a 2-page layout for March and so on. Or you could just use it occasionally as you like. Now, I wrote notes on here for myself because I need them. This is the right height that I want already. It is 3.5 inches tall. So I'm going to leave the height. But this was 4.5 inches wide. I really wanted it to be the same width as my photo because then I'm going to mat it and I wanted them to match up closely. So since it's 4.5, I want to cut 1/4 inch off of each side. So basically I just took my ruler and I drew pencil lines 1/4 inch on each side just to make sure I was happy with where it would cut and not that it wouldn't cut off any words. And I am. So now I'm just going to cut this on those 2 sides where my pencil lines are. And I've got to save this paper because I'm almost out. It's like a cherished possession for me. I love it so much. Okay. So I need to put, I should have, let me draw my line down here or up here. I'm just eyeballing it based on these grid marks and I can tell where it is. It's like right between, yeah. It's better there because I'm going to line the pencil line up with this left-hand side dotted line because that's where the blade comes down. Okay, and then make sure it's straight at the top. And cut. Maybe just a tad, tiny little bit. Well, I can do it with my scissors. Okay, now I'm going to line it up with the left hand. You could also do it at the bottom if your pencil line's at the bottom. And cut. And I see I kind of went to the right of it a little, so I'm just going to go with my scissors. This paper actually has grid lines, so you can keep it straight just by looking at it. Just come over just a little. Well, let's look. Yeah, just a small smidge. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I just, for this page, I kind of liked it, the width of my photo. Okay, I have a lot going on here. Let's get all these notes out of here. I gotta keep this note, though. Okay, trash. I really do like to tidy up between my layouts. Okay, so this is the size that I need. So it lines up with this. So now this is 4 inches wide and 3.5 inches tall. So I want to cut my mat to, this mat's a little different. Usually I want to cut it 1/4 inch wider. So I'm going to do that first. So it's 4 inches, so I want it to be 4 1/4 wide. So we're going to line it up at the 4 1/4 mark, which is, there's 4.5, there's 4 1/4. After you've looked at these grid lines all day, they kind of start to run into each other. I've been making a lot of videos today. I'm going out of town a lot to be a Creative Memories vendor at a lot of scrapbook retreats in February, so I wanted to get a lot of videos made before I leave so I can post them while I'm gone. Okay, so it's at 4 1/4. Okay, so that is how wide I want it. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's how wide I want it. And so for the height, since my little card is 3.5, I wanted to go up some for this February to have some green behind it. So I just pretended this was all the way up to 4 inches. So I would cut it 4.25 that way as well. So it's going to be 4.25 both ways. Sorry, I just remembered that. So I know that may not be 100% clear, but there we go. So, yeah. Now I'm going to mount this here with my repositionable tape runner. So it looks like a normal mat on the sides and the bottom, but it's wider at the top because I wanted to put this here. I've already got some tape runner on the back, and for it to kind of have a little color behind it. But I wanted it to come, like, not show the color on the bottom. Well, it's fine. I actually like that. And it hangs over a little, which is absolutely fine. Okay, so I would put that here. And then I would just do my photos. And I forgot to write my measurements on here of these photos like I usually do, but I can look at them and tell what they are. These are 4x6 photos, and this one is 2. So these are 6 inches wide, 4 inches tall. This is 4 inches wide, 6 inches tall. So my mats would be 1/4 inch bigger. So I would cut my mats to 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 for these, and 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 for this, but vertical. This one was a 4x4 photo, so my mat would be 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I need to move that up just a little. Okay, so then I would mount those. These are my pretend photos with mats, and then I would cut this little piece of ruled paper to make a journal box because I had a space right there, so it works perfect. And I don't believe I got my ruled paper out, but you can just get 12 by 12 pieces of ruled paper in a pack of 10 from Creative Memories. It's just the same size as our cardstock, but it's ruled. And I would just measure the space that I have, and I'm going to look for my ruler. Here we go. And I want it to be as wide as my mat. So that would be 4 1/4. So I would cut it 4 1/4 wide. And then I would want it to have a little space there and there. So I cut it 2.5 inches tall. And then I wrote in it with a Creative Memories fine tip pen. So let's take one more look at this right here. So now I did these on designer paper, so they're still kind of a little bit flimsy. You could put these on a scrapbook page, and you could certainly do that, or you could put them in top loading pages. So I'll show you kind of both. I have an album here with different kinds of pages in it. So if I wanted to put it in top loading pages, I would just take out, if it comes with white cardstock in there, I would take that out. And then, okay, I need to get this positioned. I don't have much room on this table. Yeah. And then you could just slide this down in there. I love our top loading pages. They go in just like our pages do. And then you could scrap on this side, or you could put another page and put 2 pages back to back. Or, and you know, my other page would go right here. And then they'd be side by side. Or you could mount it on a scrapbook page. This is just a regular scrapbook page with our jeeping. You could put some repositionable tape runner on it and line it up and mount it onto your page. I wouldn't do that with heavy cardstock, but since this is designer paper, it works great to do that. You choose how you would like to do that. Our pages come in Spargo, Natural, and White. Not natural anymore. Spargo, white, and black. That's what we have now. So I would, whatever I did though, I would do them both the same. I would put them in 2 top loading side by side or mount them on 2 pages side by side. So anyway, I hope you like this. It's fun. I love this collection. I've said that 1,000 times. Y'all might be tired of hearing it, but I do. And I look forward to having some more fun making more ideas with it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye.